All right, let's talk about one of the most powerful and honestly most misunderstood tools in your entire career, networking. Now forget about those stuffy, awkward events with the bad appetizers and forced conversations. What if I told you networking isn't some chore you have to endure, but a skill you can actually master? A skill that could totally change your career path. Let's dive in.
So, let me ask you something right off the bat. You're good at what you do, right? You're talented, you work hard, you get great results. Isn't that supposed to be enough to guarantee success? I mean, that's what we're all told. But the reality, well, it's a little more complicated. Your talent and your hard work are absolutely crucial, don't get me wrong, but they're only part of the puzzle. And this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. A great network doesn't replace your talent, it's like a turbocharger for it. It amplifies everything you do, opening doors to opportunities, to key insights, to collaborations you would just never, ever find on your own. So, how do we build this career accelerator? Well, we're going to go on a little journey together, and we're breaking it down into 5 key parts. We'll start with the why, then we'll get into the how, we'll adapt it all for today's digital world, sharpen our communication skills, and finally, learn how to play the long game. Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, the hidden power of networks. You see, before we can even think about mastering the how, we have to get really clear on the why. What's really going on under the hood when you build a strong professional circle?
Look, your network is so much more than just a list of contacts to hit up for a job. It's your access to information that you're not going to find on Google. You know, the industry whispers, the projects that haven't been announced yet. It builds your credibility. I mean, a warm introduction from someone respected, that's worth 1,000 cold emails. And it provides this incredible support system. It's kind of like having your own personal board of advisors on speed dial.
All right, let's jump into our second section. Build quality, not quantity. Now this is a huge mindset shift. The goal isn't to collect business cards like they're Pokemon cards. It's not about having 500 plus connections on LinkedIn. The real goal is to build a core group of meaningful, truly authentic relationships.
And this slide lays it out perfectly. There are really 2 ways to approach this. On one side, you've got the taker. We've all met this person, right? They only pop up when they need something. Every interaction is transactional. But on the other side, you have the giver. This person leads with generosity. They're always thinking, how can I help? How can I add value to this person's world? And by doing that, they build this deep, unshakable trust that becomes the bedrock of a powerful, lasting network.
So how do you become a giver? It's not complicated. It really boils down to these 3 simple but incredibly powerful actions. First, make trust your #1 goal. Be reliable. Be authentic. Second, listen way more than you talk. Get genuinely curious about other people, their goals, their challenges. And third, and this is the big one, always look for a way to help first, with 0 expectation of getting something back. That's it. That's the formula.
Now we're ready for Section 3, networking in the digital age. Okay, so the principles we just talked about, giving value, building trust, they're timeless, but the tools we use, they're changing all the time. So how do we take that giver mindset and apply it online?
I mean, the power of digital is just undeniable, isn't it? Platforms like LinkedIn completely shatter geographical barriers. You can connect with industry leaders in another country, peers on the other side of the world. Mastering your online presence is no longer optional. It's absolutely essential for growing your influence today.
So here's your strategy. Step 1 is just the basics. Your profile has to look professional, it has to be up to date, and it has to clearly say who you are and what you're about. Step 2 is where you become a giver online. Share interesting articles, write thoughtful posts, just generously share what you know. And finally, step 3, it's about interaction. Don't just post and ghost. Get into the comments, get into the messages, have real conversations, actually add to the discussion.
And all that online conversation brings us perfectly to Section 4, the art of great communication. Because honestly, whether it's a DM, an email, or a face-to-face chat, communication is the one tool you use to build and strengthen every single one of your connections. Just think about it for a second. Every single interaction you have is a chance to either build a little more trust or to erode it. When you communicate clearly, with empathy and with authenticity, you're showing respect, you're building rapport. It's the currency of influence, really. The better you communicate, the stronger your relationships are going to be.
So, what does great communication actually look like? Well, it pretty much rests on these 3 pillars. First, be clear, concise, and just be yourself. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Second, tailor your message. You wouldn't talk to a brand new intern the same way you'd talk to a CEO, right? And third, practice active listening. This goes right back to what we said earlier. Seek to understand before you try to be understood. All right, we're at our final and maybe most advanced section, playing the long game. You see, making a connection, that's just the starting line. A true master of networking knows that the real value, the deep value, is unlocked over years, even decades. And that requires mastering two things: maintenance and conflict resolution.
This is such a critical point. Your network isn't something you just build and then you're done. It's a living, breathing thing. Think of it like a garden. It needs constant care, constant attention to actually grow and produce anything. If you just walk away, even the strongest relationships will wither.
So here's a really practical checklist to help you tend to that network garden. Check in with people from time to time, not because you need something, but just to say hi. Celebrate their wins. Be their cheerleader. Be that person who reaches out when they're having a tough time. And above all, be reliable. If you say you're going to do something, do it. And in any long-term relationship, whether it's personal or professional, disagreements are going to happen. It's inevitable. You'll have a misunderstanding, a difference of opinion. The key isn't trying to avoid conflict forever. It's learning how to handle it with grace when it shows up. Here's the thing. A conflict that's handled well can actually make a relationship stronger. This three-step process is your roadmap. First, take a breath, get your emotions in check, and approach the situation calmly. Second, stop focusing on who's to blame and start focusing on finding a solution. And finally, always look for that win-win outcome where everybody feels heard and respected. That's what keeps the relationship intact for the long haul. So, as we wrap all this up, let's just circle back to that core idea. Let's throw out that old, dusty idea of networking as a one-time transactional event. Instead, let's start seeing it for what it really is, a mindset. It's the daily, continuous practice of adding value to other people's lives and earning their trust. That is the true secret to mastery.
And I want to leave you with this question. It's really a call to action. Who is one person in your network that you can add some value to right now, today? Maybe it's sending an article you think they'd like or making an introduction. Don't just think about it. Go do it. That's how this whole mastery thing actually begins.